Good morning. Oh God, my voice. Hold on a moment. Let me just go live on Instagram because I forgot to do that in the last live. Here we are. Yes, yes, yes. Now then, good morning. I look like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards. This is the state of my hair in the morning. I've done nothing with it. It is 7 o'clock in the morning here in Australia, in Melbourne, and I completely screwed. I am so gutted. I'm so gutted. I completely screwed up my challenge, and I'm blaming Bethan Thornycroft. She's here. She's watching. It's her fault because yesterday morning I spent 2 hours, maybe not that long, on the phone to Bethan, forgetting entirely that the time had totally changed and I completely misunderstood the timings. I thought that I had at least 2 hours grace in the morning and you guys were backwards, but you're not. You're ahead of me. Well, you're not. You're behind me. But in the morning, you're ahead of me in the evening, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So I missed. I missed it yesterday. I missed it. So that means that there's one day we're out. So I will have a 364-day challenge now, not a 365. Well, it will be a 365 because I just add a day on. But it means that there's just one day. I can't believe it. I'm so gutted. I'm so gutted. What a fool. I didn't know what I was doing. And it was mainly because we were so shattered because we'd flown from Auckland to Melbourne and we didn't get to our hotel until we were up in the air, which is when I should have done the live, really. But I didn't think about that. And when I got to the hotel, it was something like 2 o'clock in the morning again, when I should have done the live, but I was completely didn't know what was going on. And so when I woke up in the morning, totally shattered, and Tim had got up at 4 in the morning. I think he had something like 2 or 3 hours sleep, a couple of hours sleep. And he got up really, really early to go back to the airport to catch a flight back to Sydney because he wanted to go and see his daughter, Grace. And yeah, so I missed it. I totally missed it. I'm so gutted. Anyway, I'm here now. So today, what we're going to talk about, I'm sorry about my croaky voice. I'm sorry about my hair. It is 7 o'clock in the morning here. I've been awake for about half an hour and I had a really good night's sleep, actually, in our lovely little place we're staying in. But this is what my hair looks like in the morning. I look like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards. So let us talk about what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about the emotional roller coaster of rehabbing a horse. I mean, everybody has their say, don't they? Apart from the fact that you're going through this really worrying time, everybody has to have a say about it. Because let's be truly honest, it's not just the physical, it's not just physically hard on the horse because they've been through some terrible hoof care up until this moment, and potentially the diet and the management's been probably wrong as well. But physically, the horse is trying to regrow their hooves and get better hooves. It's also emotionally exhausting for the owner. You've already been through so much. You've already been fighting for your horse's soundness, not understanding what's going on. You've been picking up the pieces. You are now during the rehab you're probably going through right at this moment in time, or you've already gone through, and you're picking up the pieces after you've had usually years of poor hoof care. And now, as your horse is finally coming back from the brink, with a horse that is getting sounder than it's been in years, you have to deal with this misunderstanding that is rife in the world, criticism and judgment from others, people setting up silly, childish hate pages that are trying to, in terms of Hoofing Marvelous, set up simply to try and discredit all of you who are doing incredibly well with amazing results that these people can't see, because obviously, because of their childish behavior, they've been removed from the Phoenix group. That post that was put up in the Phoenix group, where it was just a simple post by one of our followers saying, please, can you put your horse's name to this post, that's been affected by the Phoenix group, by the Phoenix Way, by Hoofing Marvelous, that Lindsay and Gary that have helped, and other pros, of course, as well. And it just went mad, didn't it? With all these horses' names, just name after name after name after name after name. It was like a roll call. These are the things that those people don't see. When those people try and discredit us with old, outdated science, when we're the ones looking forward, looking back at that hideous mess, going, you've got to stop all that. This is where we're going forward. They don't see those things. They don't see the damage that it's causing and the emotional exhaustion owners have to go through by being thrown around the internet by people like that. So you have to deal with your horse getting better and rehabbing, and then you have to deal with all that mess that's going on the internet. It's enough to drive you insane, isn't it? So let me know in the comments, have you ever felt judged? Have you ever felt questioned? We get it day in, day out, but we're a bit more used to it. But you guys aren't. All you want is for your horses to improve. Many of you have got to us when it's been, very sadly, in some instances, a little bit too late. But thankfully, the majority of you get to us when you can still manage to get your horse through all this awful hoof care. So let me know, have you ever been judged or questioned about your horse's rehab? Have you ever felt like hiding from the vets, the farriers, or other professionals because you were afraid of their reaction? Well, you're not alone. You're not alone. An awful lot of people are like that. But thankfully, we have people like Bethan, we have people like Goresworth, or Bethan's page Goresworth, which are going to help you and help you through it, unlike us. Okay, let's have a shout out. Carol's here. Hello, top of the shop. We're on the same landmass, I believe. Bethan, hello, good morning. Good morning from yesterday as well. Camilla says, hey. Malin says, hello. Angie Medler's here. Hi. Sorry if it croaks. It's got to work for the weekend. Hello, says Undercover Carnivore. Bethan. To be fair, I'm a Millie. Yes, you are a mini challenge of your own, but it's okay. It's okay. I keep picking you up. Melanie says, don't worry, Lindsay, one day is okay. It's not. What have I done? I've ruined it. Hello, says Marianne. Angie says, don't worry, Gary went live, so we weren't completely deserted. Did he? Yes. I didn't see that. I will go back and I will go and see. Thank you, Gary. Hinton. You are my savior. Track to Nature. Hello, she says. We love pets. Yes, Gary did a great job yesterday. Do 2 lives today to make up. Well, that's what I'm going to do. So be warned. I'm probably going to go live in the evening, which will be morning time for you guys. But then that might be too early for some people. I don't know. I will discuss with the child that is Asha and the person that is Timmy, the man that is Timmy, and we will discuss what the best thing is to do. And maybe my daughter Georgia will tell me what the best thing is to do. You tell me what the best thing is to do. Uta says hi. Camilla says Gary kept us company yesterday, so you're excused. Sandra's here from Czech. Monica's here from Czech. Libby's here from the Shetland Isles. We Love Pets says, I'm at the point where I'm nervous to bring my horse back from the field, like I have to walk to work to do the work underground. And this is wrong. Isn't it so wrong that what is out there are deformed feet, crippled horses, where people are going, oh yes, terrible. It's just one of those things. No, it isn't. It's caused by this ridiculous hoof care that is everywhere. People, the more I travel, the more I see hoof care, which not only does it not follow the horse's natural parameters, people just make stuff up. They make stuff up. What they make up reasons for doing silly little things. One of the latest fads I've now started to witness I witnessed it in New Zealand, and maybe I'm going to see it over here in Australia. Is something that I can only describe as pointing the heels. That is what I'm seeing, where the heels are being scooped, usually with a knife, at the heel quarter, through the heel itself, the lovely little triangle heel that Mother Nature said that's what a horse needs to walk on, and they're scooping it through that triangle to a little point. A little point. So if you turn the foot over, it looks like it's got this really over accentuated arch towards the heel quarter. And then the rest of the foot is not treated properly either. So then the waterline, which should go all the way around, that's nature's horseshoe, should go all the way around evenly, is removed at the toe, backed up to the white line, often through it. Some parts of the waterline on one side of the foot to the other are just non-existent, or they're too much, where the hoof has then been rasped away at the side overly too much around that heel quarter, saying silly things like, we're relieving the heel quarter. I beg your pardon? What are you doing? And then backing up the toe, so that when you turn the foot over, instead of having this how nature designed it, this foot that goes like this to the ground with the horn tubules and this lovely roll at the end, which is created from the ground. No, we see this bulbous blob on the end where the person has just taken their rasp and indiscriminately gone and left this blob on the end. What kind of hoof care is that? What's wrong with people? What's wrong with people that they can't actually follow the horse's natural foot? They have to make it up as they go along. So these are the sort of things that I see. Meta says hi. Melanie says, when those people stole Honey's pictures, well, that one of those people, they're on that new group, Melanie, the new childish group that's like we're playing in the playground. Thank God there are some of us out there that aren't still in that playground. I did get a small retraction on their page, or reaction on their page, which was nice. Oh, did you? But I thought, you know what? I don't care. Honey won't love me any less, and she's better for it. You took that horse through a complete rehab. She was, and you're still sort of towards the end of that. She was in a terrible state with heels this high. That's what modern hoof care, that's what ridiculous hoof care had created for you. Crippled your horse. And you took her from there all the way to where you've got her now. And you're a year in with us, aren't you? Roughly. Maybe not quite yet. And she's doing amazingly well. And rather than look at that, rather than scrutinize what it was that took this horse from crippled to where you are now, they just want to throw more darts, more barbs. And I see it all the time. And I want to get hold of these people and give them a shake and go, wake up, wake up. What you're purporting, what you're supporting is what got that animal into that awful state in the first place. So keep on going. Fiona says, hello. Marianne says, stay away from most social media and on my own yard, so no judgment. Thank God. It's what we have to do. Jessie's here. Good morning, Potty. Meta says, I have some curious curious vets and owners asking and listening, but also people who deny that shoes are bad and go la 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 la, no matter what I say or show them. Isn't it so? Becky says, hello. Adele's here. Hello, my lovely. Lee's here. Hi. Melanie says, I don't pay attention anymore. If it's not on the HM page, it's fake news. And there you go. Julie Parkinson says, hello. Okay, what we got going on Instagram? We've got Track to Nature. Oh, you're also on Facebook. Laurie's here. Even my husband has been challenging to teach what I'm doing. Yeah, because it's difficult, right? Because it looks wrong. Because before, didn't it all look like artificially neat and tidy? Or, well, if you think that bulbous end of a horse's foot looks neat and tidy. And so now it looks weird, but there's a reason for that. And we're hopefully going to talk about that in this quick la lesson. Sarah FKH is here and Lindsay Reed is here. Okay, so let's get back to it. Oh, I've lost StreamYard. I don't know where I am. Here we are. Okay. Owners have already been through so much. We have to acknowledge the struggle that owners who are rehabbing have faced before they even started this journey. Before we even get into the challenge of rehab, let's talk about what most owners have already been through before they even start down this path. They've watched their horse get worse. They've watched their horse, struggle with lameness. They've watched their horse. Oh, George is phoning me. Always happens to phone me on. Georgia, if you're watching, darling, I'm on a live. They've watched their horse struggle with lameness, discomfort, unexplained hoof problems, and they've been to the vet and they've had x-rays and the vet has said they've got rotation and never going to get better. Or the vet has said, I don't know why. Or they've tried this, they've scooped the heels, they've brought the toe back, they've fiddled with the foot and just made things worse. They've followed the advice of the professionals that are out there only to see things get worse. They've spent thousands, probably, I mean, we've heard it, tens of thousands in some instances, on shoes, on vet bills, on treatments, on supplements, anything to try and fix the problem that they're faced with. They've been told over and over and over and over again that their horse would never be able to go barefoot, and that navicular is a death sentence, or that laminitis can never be reversed. And by the time the owner decides to take control for themselves and actually learn about the horse's foot, which is what all you guys are doing that come on the workshops, that take the challenges, that's what you're doing. You are taking control yourself and going, do you know what? I'm going to cut through this madness and find out for myself. By the time you're at that stage where you're taking control and you're finally starting the rehab journey, you're often exhausted. You're already terribly frustrated and emotionally drained. And instead of getting supported, instead of being supported, instead of people going, well, yeah, that looks strange, but my God, that horse is getting better. How can that be? Instead of that, no. You're criticised, doubted, and blamed for the state of your horse's feet now, when the reason that your horse's feet look the way that they do now is because what they were doing before that. The misunderstanding around long toes in rehab is it's almost, well, I see it because I see, as I travel around, like I said, when I was in New Zealand, there's a massive big fad in New Zealand for pointing toes, relieving heel quarters, not keeping the waterline on the ground uniformly, that real careful, very specific trimming that we teach people to be incredibly careful, because that's exactly what the horse does, and to really understand the nuances of the feet and to not just be so glib to go and then look over and go, oh dear, whoops, I've gone straight through the waterline. The reason horses are in such a mess is because of that. So when it comes, and yet people look at that and think it's okay, and they turn around and they look at a long toe, which we need to define properly. What does that really mean in rehab? Because you can have a long toe and you can have a long toe, and both of those are not the same. They're not. You can have a rehabbing long toe, which is fine for the horse, and you can have a long toe, which is not actually fine for the horse and is not rehabbing. It is just a long toe that has been misunderstood and not trimmed properly. So what does a long toe in rehab actually mean? Well, it's first and foremost, it's evidence of past poor hoof care. The correct long toe, the one over here, the correct one. It's evidence of past poor hoof care. It's not what's happening now. It contains a lamellar wedge, which is a physical marker, an actual physical marker of past separation. Now, a lot of the times that's chopped off to hide it, and the heels keep going up and they keep chopping that off, and the distortion keeps happening, and the owner doesn't understand because they look at their horse's foot and they think it's okay because they chop the separation off. That horse, if you let it rehab, would have that long lamellar wedge. So it's a physical marker of past separation. It proves without a shadow of a doubt that the heels were once too high. Otherwise, that separation wouldn't have developed. It wouldn't have been in there in the first place. And yet, instead of recognizing that, instead of recognizing this as proof of past hoof distortion, other professionals end up blaming the owner. Wonderful. They say things like, the toe is too long. You need to cut it back. You're ruining your horse's hooves. The feet look worse than before. The horse is going to trip. The horse is going to strain its soft tissues. It's going to strain its DDFT. It's going to strain its tendons. But here's what they don't understand. It's not an overgrown toe, that long toe. It's actually a toe that in most cases has completely lost its vertical depth, that depth. And the reason that toe looks long is because it's been repeatedly removed before, leaving no vertical or true vertical height at the front of the hoof. Height's been going up at the back. Height's been reducing at the front. Height's better say that one more time, shall I? Height's been going up at the back and height has been reducing at the front. So if we just keep cutting it, P3 will remain compromised forever. Forever. Will always remain compromised. Because when do you stop cutting it? When do you go, ooh, when is it right to stop cutting it? It's your guide. You need it there in order for you to understand balance, which is something we go on and on and on about on the workshops. Instead, what we need to do is allow that toe pillar to grow back down to the ground before we can make any judgment on what's going on in that horse's foot. If you don't allow that toe pillar to come down, you are still allowing vertical height at the front to be reduced. Now, for some horses, they have been in this horrible merry-go-round of terrible hoof care for so long that they've lost a great chunk of P3. P3 has been gradually degenerating for years. We've seen it now, we see it a lot. It's called osteonecrosis. And there's been no research on it because nobody's understood it. Nobody's worked out that it's that reduction of vertical height that's caused it, and this continual chopping off of the toe that's been behind it. And so when we start leaving these toes, for some horses, that toe, which is the horse has been in such a position with P3 in such a vertical height, that the foot has been like this, that when we bring it back down to where it needs to be, that dorsal wall starts to go off in a bizarre direction. The new wall starts to grow in, but that one just starts looking very, very weird. We still have to be very careful what we do with those feet, because if we just keep cutting, like I've said before, we're going to keep causing P3 to be compromised. And that's where real serious experience comes in when you're dealing with these horses. And we've dealt with hundreds of them. If you remove that toe too soon, you can make things worse. Just it looks wrong. And so consequently, not only do they remove it too soon, but they just get rid of it. Farriers and hoof care professionals that don't understand what they're doing just keep chopping the toe back, thinking that they're recorrecting the shape that is distorting, caused by what they're doing, caused by growing those heels at the back of the foot. Somebody put on I shared a post on our public page by the lovely Laura Bashford, who's one of our HMB pros. She's just about to qualify, in fact. She's been through many hours of trimming hundreds upon hundreds of cadaver feet. Remember, vets don't get to trim one, and our pros trim hundreds. They get to trim many at their training camps. They get to trim many before that if they've come to physical workshops, if they're doing the challenges. As soon as they start doing the work with us, they start to trim cadavers, because that's the way that you truly learn and truly can scrutinize the horse's true foot. When these hoof care professionals keep chopping the toe back, when they think that they're correcting the distorted shape that's in front of their eyes that's been caused by the hoof care that they're already doing, this forces that horse to walk on its soul. And that increases pain and it slows down progress. And not only that, it takes away your balance point. You cannot balance anymore to a true balance, so you're guessing. Instead of all of that, we need to let the hoof rebuild its structure naturally. We need to let it do that. And this is why patience is the key. The hoof is healing, right? It's not regressing, it's healing. It is healing, it is not regressing. The horse becomes sounder. It is healing, horse gets sounder. If it was regressing, horse would get worse. Doesn't, it get sounder. And yet, owners are still made to feel like they're failing. The stress, honestly, the stress of having to deal with other professionals. What do we want to do when these horses are rehabbing? We want to take x-rays as we move along. People say, where are your x-rays, Hoofing Marvellous? This is what they used to say to us years before. And we'd say, we don't have that many because we're stuck in a situation where if we get a vet out, they're going to say to the owner that at this one moment in time, because the vet hasn't been going through this process, because vets are notoriously terrible at listening to histories. That's what doctors are told, you know. Talk to the patient, listen to the history. No, vets are notoriously bad at that. They don't want to listen because they don't think anybody has enough knowledge to listen or bother to listen to them, and that the owners shouldn't be listened to. What a load of twaddle. So a vet turns up one moment in time, looks at the foot, sees that it looks bizarre, and instead of doing the right thing, which is talk to the owner, discuss this horse's rehab, understand where this horse has been. No, they railroad them. They take the x-ray, they don't appreciate the where this horse has come and how much better that x-ray is, usually, if the owner is getting it right. They then go, well, it's terrible, chop the toes off, it must be causing more problems, when it isn't. And around the merry-go-round we go again. And so unfortunately they're impeding progress because they won't x-ray a horse, or owners won't get vets out to x-ray in case they do that to them. Luckily now we have got relationships, Bethan, for instance, at Galsworth, she's got relationships with vets who understand what's going on because they've now watched it unfold. They've seen the history unfold on the internet. And so they're now working with Bethan so that she can have x-rays done regularly. We often pay for x-rays to be done. Hoofing Marvellous themselves are the sort of thing you don't see in the background, so that these horses, so that we can have this evidence and this information. You know, it's bad enough that rehab takes time because this toe has not been on the ground, and so therefore it's going to take an eon to try and get that toe pillar back down to the ground to try and improve that vertical height. It's bad enough that it takes time, but what makes it even harder is dealing with people who don't understand what's actually happening. When vets and farriers and hoof care professionals criticize without understanding, without knowing that history, they're still believing in outdated, disproven theories. We're disproving them all the time, these outdated theories, like that idea of lever forces, rip the hoof capsule off. It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. So they see a long toe and they assume it's the problem without realizing it's the result of years of bad hoof care. And that makes owners, they're afraid to go and get those x-rays, even though x-rays are essential for tracking the progress. You, as professionals, are impeding that progress yet again. You impeded it in the first instance because you were chopping and shaping and manipulating that poor hoof. And in the second instance, you're impeding progress again because you're not letting, you're stopping horses, stopping owners because they're too afraid to get x-rays from you because you're not listening. You're not listening. The emotional toll of this constant judgment sends some people backwards, and it sends some people back to pages that have no proof of rehab at all. They just stick up a photograph here and there now and again. No proof of rehab. It's all this. It's not walking the walk. They don't show it. They don't show the videos. They don't show the x-rays. They don't show the photos. They show one x-ray. No videos. No long-term rehab. We're showing you rehab that's been going on for 2 years. Bethan's doing it. She's showing you. We show you. The Phoenix Group now are starting to show you. The Phoenix Group's been running now a year and a bit, and we're now starting to see these coming through because people have been doing it now for this amount of time. So that emotional toll of constant judgment sends people back down the wrong track again. And eventually those horses usually are often put to sleep. Or they spend a life being unsound in crutches, just about coping, affecting their posture, affecting their mental health, a hideous life. When friends, when trainers, when barn managers, when livery yard owners are completely questioning this process constantly, they don't see the soundness. They're like, oh no, I don't want to look at that. Just look at the ugly feet. Make it look better. No, you were part of those feet being ugly in the first place. All we're doing now is just showing you the proof. Hoof care professionals who caused the problem in the first place, those are the ones that we really need to be going back to and going, you know, this foot that you can see right now, you did that. No, I didn't. I kept the toe off the ground. I kept the toe cut short. Yeah, exactly. You chopped off the lamella wedge so nobody could see it. You know, they come back at the owner like it's the owner's fault, and they're blaming the owner for how the foot looks now. And yet all of this stress, I feel so sorry for these owners, because all of this adds more stress, more self-doubt, and many owners feel like they have to hide away and they have to do their rehab in secret. But that, my friends, is beginning to change. So let's have a quick look. You've just written so many comments. Yes. Oh, Tim's here. Good morning, darling. Hello from Sydney. I'll see you later. Bethan says they're still plugged into the matrix. They're still plugged into the system because they can't get away from the system, because they can't cope without the system. It is a thing, you know, that in order to do this, you have to step away from that system, and that's frightening. That's asking you to feel safe out there in the big wilds where you're not protected by the system of going round and round and round and round and round on the merry-go-round. And that's frightening. That's why the Phoenix Group is so successful. That's why we're here. That's why we're supporting you. That's why Bethan keeps putting the things up that she does all over her page, because it helps you. It doesn't just confirm what you're seeing is correct, but it also helps you going through your rehab. We're doing it for you as well. Megan Triggs says, hi, hope you're enjoying your travels, Lindsay and co. We are. It's a bit tiring at times, but we're doing it. We're doing it. Gail says, shoot, late today. I just missed yesterday completely. I missed a few mini lives, says Ulrika. I missed one of them. I don't know who. Carol says, I was told that Laura had rotation, but it's lucky it was 12 and 13 degrees. If it had been 15 degrees, she would needed to have been put to sleep. It's not correct, that, Carol. It's not right. It's not about the degrees of separation. It's about the fact that to get to that point, the heels have been going up, toes been coming off. We can take horses back from excessive separation and penetration, state my hair, that vets believe you couldn't. You see, where did you hear that from? You heard it from people who are doing it wrong in the first place. No. We can take horses back from horrendous rotation and horrendous penetration. What we can't do is add more hoof onto the foot. More bone back onto P3. We can't do that. When P3's been like that for so long, it's degenerated, it's gone through osteonecrosis, we can't put it back. And that's so incredibly sad. And it's such a reflection. Rotation, penetration, and osteonecrosis are three things that are right there in front of everybody's faces, which is a reflection on how bad hoof care is. Nobody sees it like that. Navicular, there's another one. Nobody sees it like that. Side bone, there's another one. Ring bone, there's another one. Nobody sees these tendon strains, torn tendons. Nobody sees these as a reflection of poor hoof care, and yet that's what they are. And these are the things that are making vets lots and lots of money, because that's the thing. Lameness is the number one money-making problem that equine vets deal with on a day-to-day basis. And all those things I've just mentioned are the things that the reason that horses are brought to them for problems. And that's a reflection on poor hoof care. It's not a reflection on anything the owner's doing. It's a reflection on poor hoof care. We Love Pets 1000 says, I think the only hope of me not being looked at as if I'm neglecting my horse is that I have two others with normal looking feet. If I had just the one, I feel like I would be more judged. Yes. You see, you can go, see, look, this one's rehabbing. This one's got normal feet. I'm not a bad owner. Please don't tell me I'm a bad owner. For God's sake, I've been feeling that for donkey's years. I get you. Janine says, you are right. And it's the criticism that's the worst part. It's the pressure. Absolutely. And the advice was to chop the toe. Right, Carol? Which then you didn't, hopefully. Of course you didn't. Lydia's here. Hello, says Lydia. Fiona says, I ride with so many people who shoe. I find it hard to not judge them. Right. Now, there's an interesting thing, isn't it? They know how well my horses do barefoot, but are not willing to even talk about it. I find that so frustrating. Yeah, we're not allowed to judge, are we? We're not allowed to say, here, do you understand what that's doing to your horse's feet? Have you got any clue? None. None, really, because they think their horse being pseudo-sound is sound. Of course, it isn't. You take shoes off and it's not. It's very difficult, isn't it? So we have to refrain from doing that, and show them what we're doing. But my God, they're very happy to judge us. Down they come. Ooh, every single person, I tell you, folks, all of those people that judge us, I would like every single one of them to show us their horse's feet. I want them all to show, and I say that often on Hoofing Marvellous public page when people come and judge. I say, can you show pictures of your horse's feet? No, they won't put them up. Funny that, isn't it? They don't want to be judged either, but they're happy to judge other people. I love this group, says Laura Shillham. We love you too. Lee says, heading to trim the old boy I showed you. Good to hear you. You know what to do, Lee. You know what to do. Well done. I'm looking forward to finding out how you get on. Tara says, hi. Gail says, my rehab journey has been long and frustrating. I find myself occasionally asking myself, why do I love him so much? It's hard, but we keep trudging along. It's hard. It's hard. And, you know, those horses have been like that for a very long time. We cannot expect them to repair themselves in 5 minutes. Those people who put images of horses in rocker shoes and wedges and they go, look, we fixed it. Yeah. No, you haven't. No, you really haven't. There's an awful lot of devastation gone on inside that horse's foot. It's going to take more than a shoe to fix it. Ali Halfpenny says, hello. Gail says, I believe in the Phoenix Way so much it keeps me going. And we are your support group. And we're there for you. If what I was doing was wrong, if what Bethan was doing was wrong, do you think I'd be doing a live every single day? Do you think I'm not? First of all, I'm not that conceited. If you get to know me, you'll know who I am. I also, like you, feel the pain when I get thrown under the bus constantly. The reason we have blocked so many people and the reason that we don't engage in this childish behavior on the internet with these ridiculous pages is because we have a job to do. We have a mission to do. We have a job to do. And our focus has to be on you. It cannot be a focus where I can tell you now, my team around me are amazing and they stop me from going down the rabbit hole because I'm trying to support you. Bethan is trying to support you. All of us, Tim, Asha, even Georgia, who is in the background, my daughter in Paris, she feels it too. She's there, she's supporting too. Gary, Rachel, all of our friends, my sister, all of our admins, all of these people that are around me and closely linked with what I'm doing and what we are doing, they feel it too. That it's like a ripple in a pond. Every time people attack me, they attack them. And each one of us has to keep our head down and keep focused. Practically every week for sure, but almost every day sometimes, we get awful things said about us. Awful things. You don't find me going around the internet saying awful things like that about them, although I'd very much love to. Awful things are said about us, and we feel that pain too, and we have to keep focused. And if I don't, and it's happened to me in the past where I have retaliated because it gets too much, because I feel for all of you guys and I retaliate, and it'll waste 2 or 3 days of my life because it gets in my head. It gets in my head and it screws my head up, and I have to come back out of that. And the only way I can come back out of that is focusing on my students, my wonderful students, and my wonderful pros that are out there. I say mine, our wonderful pros. I have to focus on them. And every time it happens, people say, don't get involved. Just think about them, those people. And that's what I have to do. It hurts me too. It hurts me too. Dom's here. Morning. Appreciating the live vids. Fantastic. Jeanette says, bit late. Missed the notice. Yes. Sorry about that. I don't know how that works. People don't like change. It's too frightening. Alex says, thank you, Bethan. Tilly Me says, when you get it, you can't unsee it. It's amazing and sad all at the same time. Isn't it just? Heather says, hi, everyone. Found you. Lovely to have you here, Heather. Bethan says, the most heartbreaking thing for us is taking phone calls, and we do it every day, practically, folks. Phone calls, messages, it comes in all the day. It's taking phone calls from owners whose horses have been locked up for months and months. I try to explain to them where it's going wrong. Only a very small number will cut the ties from the vets and farriers and come to us. Most are too scared to step away, and the result of that is that they lose their lives a lot of the time, or they end up a life crippled, heading towards losing their life. And those pages that go out there thinking that they're myth busting, thinking that they're the new hoof regulators. Yeah, look at us, listen to us. We're the new hoof regulators in the industry. It's laughable. It's totally laughable. On one of those pages quite recently, they just set up this new page, and somebody said, one of our pros went on there and said, okay, thank you very much. Now, you've said that this is evidence-based science and that you're now the new hoof regulators. You're now there regulating the system. So like Hoofing Marvelous, could I see photographs, please, of what's going on? Do you know what the answer was? No. Wonderful. Because they don't have that kind of long-term rehab evidence, because they're so maybe arrogant, lazy. I don't know what it is. They don't take photographs. And yet photographs are number one when it comes to tracking progress. Why do you think MRIs are out there? Why do you think CAT scans are out there? CT scans? Why do you think X-rays are used? Why do you think we use ultrasound, photographs? They're all an imaging. That's the trick. That's the name of the game, imaging. We take images because it helps us track our progress, not just one every now and again. You have to sit tight and take photographs of that horse for 2 years and longer, and every day and every trim for you guys. They don't have it. They don't have it. We do. The recent myth I've heard is if the toe grows, then it will stretch the heels. Right. You should hear some of the things I've heard, Becky, over this last couple of weeks. It's been absolutely shocking. Okay, so why is this changing? Well, I'm at 45 minutes. Oh my God, this is going to be a long one. So why is this changing? Why are we able now to do this kind of change? What is going on out there? Because people, the wonderful owners are starting to make this change. We are able now to help people through these rehabs because of what we're showing on the internet, and we're encouraging hope, I think, and showing that our rehab is finally gaining recognition from you guys. We are finally starting to see the proof that this kind of natural rehab works. It's not easy when you're faced with all of that online nonsense. Bethan at Goresworth and other rehab facilities are now showing real radiographic and photographic and video evidence of successful rehabs. Horses that were once told that they were never going to recover. Owners were told they're never going to recover. That's not going to happen. They're never going to recover. Are starting to get better. We see them walking, don't we? We see them trotting. We see them cantering comfortably, even with those long toes. More and more owners are beginning to educate themselves. They're tracking progress, yes, and they're standing up to these outdated hoof care practices. And what we want to see in the future is a stop to the hoof care that creates these problems in the first place. Honestly, if you started trimming horses' feet correctly, we wouldn't have the long toes. We wouldn't have all of this stuff that you can throw barbs at. It wouldn't be there. It would be eradicated. It wouldn't even exist. The more that we educate owners, the more we prevent horses from ever reaching this level in the first place. When you see those long toes, that's serious stuff. That horse has been through serious damage before it's got to that stage. That's the realization, the reality of what we're dealing with. So the best way that you can protect yourself and your horse from all of this misguided advice and this unnecessary stress that you're going through is to educate yourself. You've got to learn how to take proper hoof photos. You've got to monitor your horse's hooves weekly so you can see the changes. You've got to get involved in workshops and challenges to deepen your understanding. I guarantee every single person I know, every single person who comes on these workshops who do the challenges absolutely come out the other end and go, okay, right. Deep breath. I see what was going wrong now. Remember, progress isn't measured by looks alone. It's not measured by what it looks like. If your horse is more comfortable, you're on the right track. Don't let someone who doesn't understand what's happening shake your confidence. You've got to trust the process. Thank you so much, my lovelies, for joining me today. For everybody on Instagram, everybody on Facebook, everybody on YouTube. I do apologize about missing one live. But what I want to say to you is that I know rehab is an emotional journey, and I know, and I want you to know you are so not alone. So if you found today's session helpful, please share it with somebody. Please like it. Please follow. Please subscribe to us on YouTube so we can keep educating and supporting each other. Because remember, the Phoenix Way, it's about fact-based, evidence-backed hoof care, not mudslinging, not staying around in the playground and chucking barbs at people and calling people a cult or calling people worse names than that, right? Calling people silly things like layman when they've got absolutely no proof of their own, putting up the odd image here and there and not showing full-length rehab. That's not fact-based. That's not evidence-based hoof care. That's just silly playground behavior. And that's unfortunately what this equine world is full of, people like that. So keep learning, keep monitoring, and keep trusting your horse's progress. Until tomorrow, which might be for me tonight. Look after yourself and look after your horse. Take care. Bye-bye, my lovelies. We love you all. Take care. Bye.